All right, let us roll right on through to our Monday Night Raw review, and we open up the only way we know how to, with an authority promo. Every freaking week.
But the difference this time is no McMahons are currently present.
And you know what, though? Thank goodness Seth Rollins is as good on the mic as he is. To think that people always used to say in his indie days when he was Tyler Black that he used to be awful. Because
he was awful.
Yeah, I actually saw some clips and I agree he was awful. But he's not here. I feel like he did very well here. Even though, you can't beat, when Stephanie really gets on a tear. Rollins is really coming into his own. He's always been a great heel, especially these past couple of months. But now that he's the champion, he's got that championship swagger going on. And, he's pretty much running down everything the Authority accomplished at WrestleMania. Talking about Show winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. But then the funny part is when he gets to Kane, and he's like, and Kane, you were there. You were there, Kane. And then they go on to put over, Rollins becoming the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Big Show says, Rollins is a true fighting champion, a champion of honor, dignity, and respect. Show tries to get the fans to rally behind Rollins, but of course they boo. Rollins got a nice bit of heat here. This crowd was definitely very participatory. I liked it. That was awesome. And then Rollins again, gets back on the mic. He says, he's going to dominate and the Authority always wins. And he runs it all down. And then he gets back to Kane. He says, and Kane, damn it. You tell him, Kane, because he just can't think of anything good to say about Kane of the Authority's dominance lately. Kane takes the mic, and he goes on to say about how, well, since I'm the director of operations, and before he can continue, Randy Orton comes out.
Can I just say I love the current character that Kane has kind of got going on for him?
Yeah, definitely.
Just the idea that he is the Authority's personal henchman, and you can't take that away from him, but he really doesn't have a problem with putting other Authority members in their place.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's so good.
He's so good in this role.
But then Randy Orton comes out. He reminds Rollins about how, the same night you cashed in and became WWE World Heavyweight Champion, I beat you after the most fantastic RKO in history. And believe me, folks, it certainly was. And he says, hey, I never got my rematch. I deserve a championship match. So, it seems like all the pieces are set. We're going to get Rollins Orton at Extreme Rules, right? Well, not so fast. Because then Kane steps up and he invokes his authority, pun totally intended, and he says, listen, you want a championship match against Seth Rollins? Tonight there is going to be a triple threat match because there are other contenders vying for a shot. It is going to be you versus Roman Reigns versus Ryback.
Yeah!
But prior to that, stakes just keep getting raised. All three of you are going to compete in one-on-one matches. And Randy, your match is against me. And it happens right now. And that's pretty much that segment in a nutshell. And then we go right into, first, before I, shoot the gun there, do you have anything else you want to say about this opening segment?
Honestly, dude, I kind of find myself becoming more and more of a Randy Orton fan with time. And it's kind of the point now that I'm not ashamed to say he's one of my top 3 favorite wrestlers in the company.
Dude, there is no shame in that. Randy Orton is ridiculously good. I feel like you and I have known that for the longest time now, and I'm not saying that you and I are alone in that. I think a lot of people see Randy Orton for really talented. I think, where he really benefits is he doesn't really come off anyway as in your face as Cena, even though he might be. I guess there's just something about it where it doesn't really come off that way or translate that way. And yeah, he had a great match at Mania. I'm loving this feud with Rollins, and he's just so on point right now. So yeah, certainly don't blame you. But, that said, we go, into this matchup. And, not really much to say about this match. Let's be honest here. Commentary even said, for Kane, it wasn't even about beating Randy Orton. It was softening him up. They do a little bit of back and forth, but it doesn't take long at all for this match to just completely devolve on the outside. And, they're brawling. And then Kane grabs a chair. He hits Orton in the gut, causing the DQ. Orton wins. Kane brings Orton back into the ring. Looks like he's going to choke slam him on the steel chair. Orton's able to slide out of it. He tries to go for an RKO on Kane, but then Kane slides out. I thought he was going to be hit with it. So Orton does stand tall, holding the chair, make sure to keep the Authority at bay. And that's pretty much how we close that matchup. We find out that Ryback's opponent's going to be Luke Harper, and Roman Reigns' opponent was the Big Show.
Yep.
So we go from that to, the announcers do touch on that AJ Lee did retire this week. I
am honestly shocked that they addressed this, that they even acknowledged this on screen.
Yeah, I think with Diva retirements in the past, Trish retired, she got a big thing. Lita retired, she got a big thing. I'm not surprised because I even figured they'd keep it more low key, I guess, given the circumstances and everything. But I am happy they did acknowledge it because she really did have a phenomenal run. And I just wish her all the best. And I don't know what's going to happen to the division now, but only time will tell.
Yep.
But we go from that to Kane and Seth Rollins arguing backstage, and Seth Rollins says, hey, everybody in the Authority understands that protecting me is the number one priority, except for you, Kane. And then Kane's like, Seth, I'm really sick of your shit. I'm the reason you got that Money in the Bank briefcase, so ergo, I'm the reason you're WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And Rollins doesn't take too kindly to Kane's tone. He pretty much says that, maybe it's time you step down as Director of Operations. Maybe that's what's best for business. And then Kane reminds Seth, well, hey, Triple H and Stephanie, they're on vacation. You're not going to be able to reach them tonight, but what I can do for you is put you in a match. And Rollins doesn't know who his opponent is, right then and there. But that's not the only thing we got from this segment, because isn't this the same segment, Ashton, where we see a return tonight?
Do we?
Brad Maddox.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him, actually. Yeah. He had like 10 seconds on screen, and that's about it.
Well, see, that I was just coming back from taking care of business when Maddox, was on screen, so I didn't know, if he said anything or if him and Kane had any interaction that was noteworthy, but I guess not. But yeah, Maddox showed up on Raw, guys. Crazy stuff. I know quite a few fans were really happy about that. If you guys haven't seen his YouTube videos, really check them out. They're hilarious. Really wish he would be able to show that kind of personality more on the main roster. Maybe he will, but I don't have my hopes up. But we go from that to finding out who Seth Rollins' opponent is. Of course, as I mentioned in our opening segment, it is Neville. So what a matchup these two have. And before it even happens, Rollins gets on the microphone, kind of pulling a Kurt Angle to Neville's John Cena, talks down to Neville a little bit, and he says, wow, you debuted last week, and now this week you're in the ring with the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, how does it feel? And he, puts the microphone to Neville. Before Neville can even speak, Rollins takes it back, and he says, oh, no, I understand. I was a rook once, too. I can understand how nervous now, in awe you are of being in the ring with me. You can back out if you want, pretty much gives him an out. Of course, Neville doesn't take it. He shoves Rollins. Also worth noting, a huge NXT chant broke out from this crowd, which was amazing to hear.
Yeah, it was awesome. This crowd felt like the mini-me version of last week's crowd. Like, they had a lot of the same chants, just slightly less rambunctious.
Yeah. I think these two guys tore it up. And you know what? This convinces me that Neville not only is, I think, one of WWE's pet projects going forward. I mean, Lillian even introduced him as the man Gravity Forgot, which I love. I love that that's part of his formal introduction. I see him doing big things for the remainder of this year. I even told you outright, I see him participating in Money in the Bank this year come June. I really see him getting his spot. Winning it? Honestly, I'm not even casting that out either, but I'm not saying right now that he's even a contender. But honestly, I'm amazed that he got this match so soon. And yeah, he took it to Rollins. I mean,
he held his own. I was talking to you about this when we were watching this match. I feel like that's a really great thing about Rollins as champ is you can honestly believe anybody beating him. But on that same note, he's also believable to beat anyone. So, I could, maybe not Brock, but just about anyone else, I could buy Seth Rollins beating in a one-on-one match. But on that same note, you could bring up anyone from NXT, and I would be able to buy them beating Rollins. It's such a great dynamic to have because he's been booked so well.
And I love that you brought that point up again for Twitwell, because I loved when you made it when we were watching it together, because I'm like, wow, he's right. I think it was either on Jim Ross's blog or somebody said that Rollins is going to work as a champion because he is exactly what you said, like that Ric Flair type, that guy that could just go out and just heal it up and just make everybody look like $1,000,000, but still come out with that title. That's why I've really been so looking forward to Rollins' run. I think you articulated it perfectly, for me, for everybody that's just been waiting for him to capture that world title and go on his freaking tear. And we're already seeing the payoff, with matches like these, because a guy like Neville now, who we know is legit through NXT, and if you follow the indies religiously, which I personally don't, but, I watch the clips here and there, he's got the goods, to really be an Impact player. But, he's able to come out in this match, look like $1,000,000, get amazing offense in. There was one point he did like this dive. It was like this over the ropes, almost moonsault looking thing, if I'm not mistaken. And he landed on his freaking feet. It was insane.
It looked like he was getting ready to just do a standard flip over the top rope, but he actually rotated his body mid-air so that it was like he had, he landed on his feet facing the ring. It was so cool.
Yeah, ridiculous. And what
Very interesting for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Another great moment in this match was, Rollins' first attempt at a buckle bomb got countered with this wicked Rana where Rollins' back makes contact with the turnbuckles.
Yeah.
Neville really took the fight to Rollins, and what I love the best is that J&J Security, only slightly, but they did, got involved because it really looked like Neville was going to hit that red arrow and, beat Seth Rollins. But you had, I believe it was Jamie Noble, grab the foot while Joey Mercury's distracting the referee. And, then Rollins and Neville have a bit more back and forth. Neville gets caught, gets buckle bombed, and then eats a curb stomp, so he gets pinned. So you have the slight interference from J&J Security, but you still have a little bit more back and forth, so you can't say that, they just outright gave Rollins the win. It was a perfect finish to me. And now you look at Neville and you say, well, you just took the WWE World Heavyweight Champion to the limit. This is a guy that I've got to watch. I have to say, of all the NXT prospects that have come up, I have to say so far, Neville has already been handled far and wide the best. I mean, It's ridiculous, dude.
Yep, I would agree.
Anything you want to say about this match? I mean, I've talked at length about it and Neville and everything else. I mean, is there anything you want to say before we move on?
I just love that they're actually treating Neville. They're taking him seriously. I love the Ascension horrified me for all future NXT call-ups because of how poorly they were handled. And now Neville gets called up. He's rocking the cape with the hood. He looks awesome. They even have Lillian calling him the man that gravity forgot. It's just such a perfect. They have everything about him that's good about what he had in NXT, and even a little bit more than that. That's also good. Like they finally, with Neville, I feel like they found the perfect balance of what worked on NXT and what can make that translate well to larger crowds. And it's all great.
And I think another little thing I like too, not to say that he's horrendous in this arena, I don't want to make it seem that way, but I'm really glad they didn't let him talk here. I thought he was going to say maybe even like a word or two, but no, Rollins he used that to, create more heat for himself. And, I'm sure Neville will cut a promo eventually. I mean, he already kind of did if you watch WWE's YouTube channel and you saw Raw Fallout after his debut. Yeah. And he certainly won't be bad. But I think, let his actions speak for him. He's so captivating and so fun to watch. That's how he's going to win people. So just stay the course.